watching South Asia Newsline, and other top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 26th of February. India and Israel advanced relations with PM Modi's visit. Living in La La Land, India slams Pakistan's Kashmir propaganda at UN. And Canada changes tack on linking India to crimes ahead of Carney's visit. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a strengthening of defence, trade and counter-terrorism ties with Israel as he held crucial talks with the leadership in Tel Aviv on Thursday, forging closer bonds to combat security threats in their regions. We have a report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on the second day of his state visit to Israel, announced on Thursday that India and Israel have decided to elevate their ties to the level of special strategic partnership. After extensive talks with his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu, PM Modi thanked the Israeli leader for the warm welcome extended to him and his delegation. Referring to being conferred the Speaker of the Knesset medal, PM Modi said he dedicates the honor to 140 crore Indians and to the enduring friendship between India and Israel. PM Modi also emphasized that both India and Israel are clear that there is no place for terrorism in the world and terrorism cannot be accepted in any form.
Friends, हमारे संबंध गहरे विश्वास, साझा लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों और मानवीय संवेदनाओं की मजबूत आधारशिला पर आधारित है, उस पर स्थापित है। हमारे रिश्ते समय की हर कसौटी पर खरे उतरे हैं। आज हमने अपनी टाइम टेस्टेड साझेदारी को स्पेशल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का दर्जा देने का ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लिया है।
The historic meeting between PM Modi and PM Netanyahu saw collaborations on the fronts of high-tech artificial intelligence, quantum computing, economic, diplomatic and security collaboration. These included MOUs on geophysical exploration, development of National Maritime Heritage Complex in Lathau, fisheries and aquaculture, and the declaration of intent in the field of horizon scanning, among others.
I think there wasn't a dry eye left in Israel after your moving statement yesterday in the Knesset, and I can tell you that since then we've had also the opportunity to not look all deep into our hearts, but also into our remarkable minds that we have in our two countries.
PM Modi earlier in the day also met Israeli President Isaac Herzog. While addressing the Israeli parliament on Wednesday, Modi told lawmakers that India stood with Israel, with full conviction, as he shared his nation's condolences over the October 2023 Hamas attack, and also remembered the victims of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, which included 6 Israelis.
And India, in a strong rebuttal at the 61st session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, accused Pakistan of spreading propaganda on Kashmir and reaffirmed that Jammu and Kashmir remains an integral part of India. Exercising the right to reply, India's representative Anupama Singh said the Union Territory's development budget is more than double the recent bailout package sought by Pakistan from the IMF, highlighting rapid infrastructure growth in the region. Referring to the Chenab Rail Bridge, the world's highest railway bridge inaugurated last year, she remarked that dismissing such progress amounts to living in La La Land. Singh also rejected allegations raised by Pakistan and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, calling the grouping an echo chamber for one member state. Responding to criticism on democracy, she said, it was difficult to accept lectures from a country where civilian governments rarely complete full terms.
Mr. President, if the Chenab Rail Bridge, the world's highest bridge inaugurated in Jammu and Kashmir last year, is fake, then Pakistan must be hallucinating or living in the La La Land. Or maybe Pakistan finds it unbelievable that the developmental budget of Jammu and Kashmir is more than double the recent bailout package they sought from the IMF. Mr. President, to conclude, Despite Pakistan's efforts to destabilize the region through relentless state-sponsored terrorism, Jammu and Kashmir continues to surge ahead, politically, economically, and socially. Pakistan would do well if it focuses on fixing its deepening internal crisis than to mask them with grandstanding at such platform.
And ahead of the Canadian PM, Mark Carney's high-profile visit to India, aimed at deepening commercial ties after recent years of diplomatic distress, authorities in Canada seem to be taking a U-turn on their allegations of Indian interference and transnational repression on Canadian soil. Senior Canadian officials reportedly told media that the Canadian PM would not be travelling to India if the government believed India was actively interfering in the Canadian democratic process. We have a mature, robust discussion with the government of India on these issues, and we have robust safeguards in place to avoid foreign interference, CTV reported, quoting an official. The remarks make a big shift from the Canadian Security Intelligence Service that earlier accused India of foreign interference and espionage in Canada. The agency linked the Indian government to the 2023 killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Canadian citizen. India has repeatedly dismissed the allegations, leading to a sharp diplomatic freefall. Both nations expelled a string of top diplomats in 2024. However, ties improved after Carney took office last year in March, and envoys have since been restored. And Pakistan has heightened security and arrested dozens of suspects amid fears of retaliatory militant attacks following its recent airstrike inside Afghanistan. Junior Interior Minister Talal Chaudhry said security forces are on high alert, warning that militants often respond after operations targeting their hideouts across the border. Islamabad carried out these strikes over the weekend, saying they targeted militants responsible for a recent wave of suicide bombings in Pakistan. It has accused Kabul of allowing fighters to use Afghan territory as a safe haven, an allegation Afghanistan denies, insisting militancy is Pakistan's internal issue. Tensions have since escalated, with Pakistani and Afghan forces exchanging fire along the border. Meanwhile, several attacks have struck Pakistan, including an ambush on a police vehicle in Kohat that killed 5 officers and 2 civilians, and a suicide bombing at a checkpoint that killed 2 policemen. Authorities say intelligence agencies have issued alerts warning of possible attacks on urban centers, markets, security forces and places of worship. According to armed conflict location and event data, militant attacks in Pakistan have surged sharply since 2022, underscoring growing security challenges. The Global Monitoring Organization data from the Global Monitoring Organization shows attacks in Pakistan rose nearly 4-fold to 2,425 in 2025 from 658 in 2022. And over the same period, TTP attacks increased more than 7-fold to 838 from 118. And as Nepal heads into crucial elections, rising unemployment continues to push thousands of young people to seek work abroad. Despite political promises of job creation, many youth say leaving the country feels less like a choice and more like a compulsion.
At a training center in Kathmandu, 21-year-old Rahul Pariyar practices using a harness, preparing for a job in the United Arab Emirates, where he says wages are 4 times higher than in Nepal, a country grappling with a 20.6% youth unemployment rate. The Himalayan nation will hold elections on March 5th, prompted by historic youth-led protests against joblessness and corruption that ousted the previous prime minister. Amid this economic backdrop, at least 3 million of Nepal's 30 million residents work overseas, mostly in the Middle East, according to industry officials. Data from the Rastriya Shramik Mahasangh Nepal, a labor union, shows that approximately 1,500 Nepalis leave daily for foreign jobs.
नेपालमा रोजगार राम्रो पाइदैन भन्छ जस्तो पैसा पाइदैन हैन त्यसै कारणले अब जानु पर्यो यार छोराछोरी पाल्नै पर्यो.
Political parties have promised ambitious job creation ahead of the election. The Rastriya Svatantra Party, RSP, currently seen as a frontrunner, has pledged to create 1.2 million jobs, while the Nepali Congress has vowed to generate 1.5 million jobs and cut the foreign labor outflow by half within 5 years. However, widespread skepticism persists. Many youths blame Nepal's political parties, some of whom have stoked decades of instability through a merry-go-round of coalitions and elections, for the lack of development and the lack of jobs. The impact of this exodus is visible in Nepal's rural areas, where villages are frequently left with only children and the elderly.
मलाई त दुई तीनवटा कुरा लाग्छ एउटा त राजनीतिक अस्थिरता पनि होला हैन भोलि चाहिँ यहाँ चाहिँ के भन्छ जबको चाहिँ कुनै ग्यारेन्टी पनि छैन है राजनीतिक अस्थिरता र बेरोजगारी नै दुईटा मुख्य कुराहरू हुनु होला जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई हैन.
At Kathmandu's main international airport, Parak Singh, another youth departing for the Gulf, laments the lack of options at home. Nepal is like this, there is unemployment, Singh said. There is a compulsion to leave. Rather than stay in Nepal, it feels necessary to go to the Gulf.
नेपालमा अब त्यस्तै छ बेरोजगारी छ नगइ नहुने पनि हुने बाध्यता छ बेरोजगारी बस्नु भन्दा अनि तिरै जानुपर्ने बाध्यता नै जाने हो.
Thousands of devotees gathered in Barsana in India's Uttar Pradesh on Wednesday to celebrate Latmar Holi, a traditional festival where women playfully strike men with bamboo sticks as part of centuries-old rituals linked to Hindu mythology ahead of the main Holi celebrations. Women devotees used bamboo sticks, also known as lathi, to hit the men who teased or bothered them while playing with colors. Celebrated at the onset of spring, the festival of colors, Holi, is associated with the eternal love of Hindu god Lord Krishna and his consort Radha. This unique custom is practiced every year ahead of Holi to honor the love and devotion of Lord Krishna for his consort Radha. Holi will be celebrated on March 4th this year.
भगवान श्याम सुंदर अपने ग्वाल बालों के साथ ठिठोरी करते हैं गोपियों के साथ में तो वो गोपियां अपनी लाठियों से उनको बचाव करती है. ये प्रेम पगी लाठियां बोलते हैं इनको. कोई भी चोट नहीं. इसमें इस होली का इतना महात्म है. कहते हैं ना देख देख या ब्रिज की होली ब्रह्मा मन ललचाए. देवता भी तरसते इस होली के लिए.
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.